Part 7, Printing Math with the Braille Note.
Pete, today we're going to talk a little bit about using the Braille Note to print mathematics. So what we can do is set up the Braille Note in order to develop a file which you can put mathematics in and print it out using this HP printer that we've got connected to the Braille Note, and be able to communicate with your sighted teachers, math teachers, that way by handing them the ink print mathematics. And there are a few things that we need to go over in order to be able to do that. And I know, Pete, for example, that you are very good with the Braille Note, and if you weren't, this is a little more sophisticated than a beginning Braille Note user would be able to handle. So the point that I would like to make is one of the reasons that we can do this with you with a very good chance of success is because you are already an accomplished Braille Note user. We would never, ever recommend starting out with this strategy for printing mathematics with the Braille Note if a student didn't know his or her way around the Braille Note pretty well. At any rate, so I'm going to just summarize what we'd like to do, and then we'll get started. What we're going to do is start a file. We're going to create a file. I want you to call it math, and then we're going to have to turn on computer code, because we're going to use today a combination of the computer code and the Unicode. The Unicode is a set of symbols, a gigantic set of symbols which has been installed in the Braille Note, which you can tailor. The people who've developed the program for that operates the Braille Note have imbued it with the capability of tailoring it so that you can select certain Unicode symbols and you can attach certain keystrokes to those particular Unicode symbols, and then all you have to do is, when you want to print those out, you just strike those particular keystrokes. And I have already set this Braille Note up in order to do this. So in a nutshell, what you have to do to get a Braille Note ready to do what we're just about to do is you have to turn on 8-dot mode, keyboard 8-dot mode, and showing 8 dots on the keyboard, and any person that would be using the Braille Note could find out how to do that in the owner's manual. Then also you need to have computer code extended characters turned on, and then from there it's a relatively simple matter to use a combination of the computer code and Unicode to print mathematics. So that's what we're going to start. So I'd like to have you turn on the Braille Note.
All right.
Main menu.
There we go.
Word processor.
And
Keyword menu.
that's right. And I
All
want
right.
you to start create a file and call it math. That'll be
Create a document. Folder name. Press enter for general. Document to create. M-A-T-H. Math. A file of that name already exists.
okay.
Document
So
to
let's
create.
it was
try.
there.
Let's try
Yeah,
another
this-
file. Try math test.
M-A-T-H. Math. T-E-S-T.
All right.
Test. Top of document.
Excellent.
Blank.
Now, one of the first things we have to make sure that we do is turn on, that we're going to be inputting in computer code. So would
Yeah,
you please
so
do
turn
that?
on that.
Options menu. Keyboard Braille grade in use. Currently grade 2. Computer Braille.
Excellent.
cool.
Okay, very good. You're in
Sounds good.
computer code now.
Yep.
And so let's call, what did we call this? Math assignment. Would you Braille that? Now,
Yeah.
remember, when you're doing computer code, and for those of us who are used to grade 2 Braille, you really have to start thinking
no
about
contractions
brailing. No
there, so-
contractions, that's exactly right. And since we have 8-dot mode turned on, one of the things that happens with 8-dot mode is that the dots 7 and 8, the backspace key, which is normally the backspace key, the one that's furthest to the left, is now dot 7, and the dot 8 is now has been assigned to the enter key. And so the normal use, and this is something that takes a little bit of getting used to too, the normal use of the backspace key and the enter key for when you're using 8-dot mode, is slightly different. When you press those, and if you want backspace or if you want new line or enter, you have to press the space bar along with, say, the enter key or the backspace key. So that's one thing that makes it operate a little bit differently, but it's not a problem. You can get used to this. So would you please, and then also there's one other thing. We want to use, to make a letter capitalized, what we can do is use a chord U in front of the letter, and then that will capitalize that letter. So would you please put in, let's say, math assignment, and Braille that in grade 1 Braille or computer code.
All right. Do you want the first letter capitalized?
Yes, I do, please.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, good.
F-M-A-T-H, math,
And that's
T-E-S-T.
okay.
Excellent. Math test.
And
And
go down.
would you hit, yes, hit the space bar.
Just new line.
Very good. You hit the space bar with the enter key,
Enter
and
key.
that got you a new line.
Get me
That's
down. Yep.
excellent, excellent. I like that a lot. Doing great. Quick learner here. And I noted that you were very good about, you didn't use the TH sign in math, and you did not use the ST sign in test. You spelled it out in grade 1 Braille, computer code, because if you had used, for example, the TH sign in math, the TH sign in computer code is the question mark, isn't it? Huh? I believe you and I
Yeah.
have talked about that.
4
And
6 would be the
and
period.
yeah, that's right. And the ST sign, or dots 3, 4, is the slash or the division sign in computer code. So things change a little bit, and that's why you have to know the computer code reasonably well and how it changes from grade to Braille. So the first thing we want to do is illustrate how to combine the computer code and the Unicode. And we're going to do the expression 10 degrees plus 20 degrees equals 30 degrees. And we're going to have the item number as number 1. So what we're going to have to do is a number 1. We don't use any numeric indicators, do we?
Nope.
In
No
computer
numeric,
code?
no number signs.
Okay,
for
no
this,
number
so-
signs, right? So do a number
just
1.2. Very
There
good.
we go.
And then the period. Now,
So
in
4,
computer
6.
code, that changes, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it becomes a 4 6.
4, 6, that's right. Very good.
So-
Do that.
Period.
There we
Very
go.
good. Now hit a space.
Yep.
Excellent. And now, when we do the 10, we're going to do 10 degrees plus 20 degrees equals 30 degrees. So the 10 would just be the
10.
computer code 10.
Yeah.
And what would that be? Do you know?
It's a dot 2 for 1,
that's
and
right.
for a 0, it's dots 3 4 5.
Excellent.
So
0.
10, and then
There you go. Okay, it's actually dots 3, 5, 6.
3 5 6. I'm
That's
sorry,
a-
I put it in, but
I know you did.
said
I know you
that
did.
wrong. So
Okay.
3 5 6 for
Now,
0.
here is where we're combining the, so you just now brailled in computer code. Now,
Yeah.
we're going to do a Unicode symbol. The degree symbol, I've already tailored the Braille note to be able to pick off this gigantic list of symbols, the degree symbol, and I have arbitrarily assigned, you can assign any keystroke you want to the symbols from the Unicode, and I have tried to make these that I've picked from the Unicode, somewhat similar to what they are. So, for example, the degree symbol, I have chosen to do a chord U and a low D, and the low D meaning
Degrees.
degree. That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
I'll show those.
And now, then
I?
that's how I input it, or that's how I want you to input it. And then you also have a choice on how you want it displayed on the Braille notes Braille display. And I've chosen to have dots 1 6. Now that I realize that is not the precise symbol for
you could get it
degrees.
confused with the multiplication, but
That's right. But that is not the Namath code, the entire degree symbol for the Namath code, but it's close. And and when you move after we get this written in, if you move over that that expression character by character, you will hear the Braille note say degrees. That's right.
yeah.
So would you press now a chord U, excellent, and then a low D.
Degrees.
Excellent,
go.
and it says degrees. Great, okay. And if you put your finger on that,
Over
you'll
here.
see it's 10, and then
Oh,
we
yeah.
have the dots 1 6, don't we?
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yes. Now
times.
do a plus sign, and the plus sign is
Plus.
Excellent.
It's 346.
346, that's right. Now do 20.
2, 0
And the degree sign would be?
U chord with a low D.
degrees.
Excellent,
There we go.
outstanding. Okay, now the equal sign, now this is the computer code equal sign, is what? Do you know what it is? You
Full
do.
cell.
Full cell, that's right, very good.
So space equals, right?
Yep,
Equals.
There we go.
good. Now space again.
All right.
Now, and then we can do 30 degrees, so put in the
3,
30 degrees.
0 degrees.
Excellent, outstanding, very good. And you notice that as you inputted those keystrokes, the Braille note spoke it correctly.
Yep.
And it doesn't take much to figure out that means, that expression means 10 degrees plus 20 degrees equals 30 degrees. And when you print that out, and we'll do this shortly, that will, after we get the entire assignment done, that will be very accurately printed, and any sighted person would be able to recognize that. Okay, would you, the next item, the next line will be our algebraic expression. Very good. How did you do the new line?
Space bar and enter key, which is
Excellent.
.7.
That's
I mean,
right.
.8.
Dot eight, that's
Computer
exactly right. You got it
codes.
right on target. That's absolutely right. And we had to use the space bar and the enter key because we're in 8-dot mode. And so if you'd hit the enter key by
would just
itself,
be
you'd have been in
8,
8.8.
so-
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, the next thing we're going to do is the algebraic expression x squared plus 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now,
All right.
here's a particular problem. We are going to we're going to improvise to make the exponent, the square part, the 2 that's normally printed above the line of print, we're going to put in an upwards pointing arrow to show the sighted teacher
That it's a superscript.
You got it right
Yeah,
on target. Very
yeah.
good. And now we have to show when that superscript, because it's all written on one line, we have to show when the superscript comes to an end. And we're going to use a .5,
Baseline.
which is in the name of the code
It-
that you and I know.
It's a
It's
baseline.
the baseline indicator.
coming-
Now, for the sighted teacher, when you print this out, that's going to be
A quote,
A quote.
right?
That's
Yeah,
right, because
cool.
.5 in the computer code is a quotation mark. So it doesn't take much explanation for a sighted teacher to be able to understand that when she sees an upwards pointing arrow, that the expression following that is all in the exponential portion of the expression, and then when it's followed by a quotation mark, that means that exponential expression has come to an
Yeah,
end.
it's come down.
Good.
So-
Let's do number 2.
So
Put in number 2 period, please.
2,
And that's 2.
Period.
All
And then a
right.
space.
Cool.
And then we have an X.
So X.
Now, here is, how do we make an upwards arrow? This is
carrot.
the way we do this. We do a U chord, and then dots
4,
4 and 5.
5.
Very good. Do that, please.
X caret.
X
Cool.
caret.
X
Very
caret.
good. Okay. So it calls the upward pointing arrow a caret. And then put in the 2. And
Oh.
yeah, very good. Now we'll put in the .5
Baseline.
baseline
Yeah.
indicator.
Double quote.
Excellent. And it says double
It's
quote.
gonna say double quote,
Now plus 2x. Put in 2x.
Plus
Plus.
2. X.
Very good. Now minus 1.
X dash 1.
Oops.
Yep,
Jeez.
yeah, go back. Now what you have to do is x. Yeah, you have that.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it was x. There was 2x
Yeah, it's-
dash. He calls the minus sign
It's a dash, yeah.
Minus 1.
One,
That's
so-
right.
Cool. That
Now
was correct.
press the space bar.
All right.
And then equal sign.
equals.
Equals.
And then space bar again, please. And
And
then a 0.
0.
0.
Very good.
All right.
Excellent. And if you look at that expression on the display, it actually looks,
It looks,
very
yeah.
close to Namath code, doesn't it?
It does actually, yeah. That's
Yes, it does. Right.
pretty cool.
And okay, super. Okay,
Cool.
now the next thing we'll do is if you would give us a new line, please.
New line.
Excellent.
right.
Number 3.
3. Period.
And this time we're going to do an inequality. And we're going to do 5 is not equal to 6. And this is another illustration of how we're going to improvise.
Yeah, how the
And as we've discussed, the not equal sign in print is an equal sign with a slash through it. And unfortunately, we can't make that with the Braille note, so we're going to have to improvise. And what I'm suggesting is that we put a slash in front of the equal sign, and the slash in the computer code is dots 3, 4, And so let me just summarize. What we would do is have a 5, and then we'd have a space, and then put the slash mark, the dots 3, 4, in front of the equal sign, and then put the equal sign, and insert the equal sign, then a space, and then the number 6.
Yeah,
So then
all right.
that would be read as 5 is not equal,
equal
to
to
6.
6.
Now, once again, sighted people will be able to interpret this perfectly fine. It'll just have the slash mark in front of the equal sign instead of through it. And that
Should be able to
the
put
mean-
the
yeah,
two
the
pieces
meaning of that
together
should
there,
be
you know.
the meaning of that should be very clear. So would you
Cool,
please
yeah.
do number 3 period and 5 is not
Yeah,
equal to 6?
5 is not equal to,
slash equals
and 6.
6.
Perfect.
Cool.
Very good. Outstanding. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, you could examine those, and now you've got them on your display, and you can feel them very well with,
that's-
tactually, but you can also use your reading keys to move backwards and forwards over those
Yeah, over the,
display, moving
6
it.
slash equals
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Slash equals. Very good.
Five.
Very,
Cool.
very good.
Yeah.
And the slash equals, it
Is
really
not
means
equal
not
to,
equal to. That's
so.
exactly right. Okay, now, would you print this out, please?
Sure.
And send that file to this HP printer that
All right.
is sitting
bottom
on
of
the desk in
document,
front of us here.
blank, exit keyword menu,
all right, go
create,
to
open a doc, emboss a doc, print a document, print or set up printer, folder name, press enter for general, document to print, press enter for math test, printer ready,
yes.
keyword menu, printing of math test
Excellent.
complete.
And it's printing right now. I'm pulling out the paper.
Now
that
we
came
will
out of here.
see what's,
Yep, and now if we could read this print, it would probably say exactly what.
Just what we put
had
in there, so.
That's right, and that's your assignment. You can
Cool.
hand that to your
Cool.
teacher.